Hello, welcome to Sober Josh, where probably everyone knows this one by now if you're interested in the tech YouTube space. It's going to be the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck, in my opinion, is just a really ergonomic device. I think out of all the handheld gaming PCs I've tried, it is one of the most comfortable. It is just really nice in the hand. The rounded edges, the sloped front that naturally supports your palms, and the symmetrical analog sticks make it especially appealing for adults who find smaller handhelds cramped or fatiguing during longer sessions. And long sessions, there will be. Of particular note are the two symmetrical trackpads located underneath the analog sticks and the 4 back buttons. Now, these pads and the back buttons together open a large variety of new input methods, allowing a player to further customize their gameplay experience or to compensate for physical infirmities in ways never before possible on any large-scale commercial controller. So, if you're missing a finger or two, you're able to more than make up for it using these back buttons and trackpads. Now, this gaming PC runs the Linux operating system, and the specific version, the specific distro that they're running is SteamOS released by Arch. Now, Linux is something a lot of people may not have much experience with up until now, but over the last year it started to gain in popularity. There's a lot more tech channels that are talking about it right now. It is not exactly the same thing you're going to be used to with Windows, but you can do pretty much anything you would do in a Windows operating system. As to say that this, even though it looks like a giant Game Boy device, it looks like just a gaming handheld. This thing, you plug it up to a keyboard or mouse with the USB-C port right here. You can get a mouse, a monitor, a keyboard all connected to it with Bluetooth, and you can sit there and have a full desktop gaming experience either in the Steam game mode or through the Linux desktop. And once you're in the Linux desktop, you can download any application you feel like that's currently available on Linux, and you can even use some things like Wine, Proton built into Steam, or some other things like WinApps or Bottles to run a large variety of Windows applications on here as well. And Steam and Valve, they've really put a lot of work into getting that working better and better. They've actually open sourced a lot of that. So they've been working on projects like Fex, they've been working on projects like Proton, and they've been contributing to projects like Wine, and they do have all of that out there open source. And actually, they were the originators and backers of a lot of those projects, actually. So that's really cool. Now, inside, the Steam OS, you can't run every Windows game. You can't. Unfortunately, esports titles do use what's called kernel anti-cheat. Now, kernel anti-cheat requires the deepest level of access to your PC so that it can determine whether or not you're running cheating applications. Linux does not allow kernel anti-cheat. So a lot of the game developers that are running these really large, popular, competitive titles, they do not support Linux as a platform, so that's just where you're going to kind of run into some issues. If you're playing first-person titles, if you're playing one-player games, if you're playing things that you're doing a lot of indie titles, you're not going to have a problem. Most things are going to just boot up and play just fine. You may occasionally find something that doesn't work. If you do, you can go ahead and send a message to Steam's team to let them know that that game isn't working. And maybe the next time they roll out an update for Proton, they'll have an update for that particular game. I really like gaming on this. Like I said before, the ergonomics are great, but it has this beautiful screen. One of the most meaningful upgrades came with the display. The 7.4-inch 16x10 OLED panel running at up to 90 Hz with a 1280x800 resolution is a major step up from the original model. HDR support gives gamers deeper contrast and richer colors, and while there's no variable refresh rate at the hardware level, Valve software more than makes up for it. Through the Steam side menu, you can manually lock the refresh rate anywhere from 30 to 90 Hz. It's an incredibly useful tool for performance tuning and battery life. We do have the matte screen protector on here. This is not the etched screen model, so you can get an etched screen model from Valve. That one costs a little bit more, but it comes with a larger SSD, and the screen is etched, so it has a nice matte finish, and that actually helps to break up reflections and prevent glare on your screen while you're playing, which would be really nice if you are taking it out and about. In my opinion, it is a little bit too large to really travel with. I mostly prefer to play the Steam Deck at home. Whenever it's time to go out, I actually have other devices that I think are a little bit more suited to travel than the Steam Deck is. So it usually just ends up sitting at home, plugged up right there on the couch, play with it there, sometimes in bed. A really great device to have. Now, if you're looking to get something like the Steam Deck, you're going to find this selling through Steam's website or directly through the Steam store for the low price of $549 USD. Now that's a really great experience that you're going to get. You're getting a 7.4-inch OLED screen, 90 Hz max refresh rate, 16 gigabytes of RAM with a relatively fast and very efficient AMD processor inside of the system. Now, the Steam Deck released a few years ago, so a lot of people, I think, are now looking at this device and wondering whether or not it's actually a really good investment. You know, it's 2026 now, this has been out for a couple of years, everyone knows about the Steam Deck, but is it still worth purchasing? I think absolutely. Now, yes, plenty of devices that surpass the Steam Deck in raw performance, power, and gaming performance. But where the Steam Deck continues to win is overall value. Valve is an American company. In the US, the Steam Deck is sold domestically, shipped domestically, and supported by American customer service. As far as handheld gaming PCs go, it's still the only one designed and directly supported by an American company, even if, like everything else, many of the components are manufactured in Asia. And just as important, the Steam Deck is the best-selling PC handheld ever made. That massive user base means an enormous active community. Troubleshooting guides, performance profiles, mods, plugins, most of them are designed specifically for this exact hardware. While the Steam Deck may struggle with the very newest AAA releases in 2026, it remains an exceptional value. It's a system that can deliver thousands of hours of high-quality gaming, and years later, it's still one of the easiest handheld PCs to recommend.